Hey everybody, this is Captain Frugal reporting for duty, giving you my weekly comic book review. So sit back and enjoy.
News about comic books, musical instruments, tech reviews, and video games with your host, Captain Frugal.
Welcome back, comic book fans, and welcome back to the channel. Every week, a flood of comics hits the shelves, and it can be tough to decide what to pick up. But don't worry, that's what I'm here for. We're about to dive in to this week's releases to crown one book the comic of the week. Will it be an epic superhero showdown, a mind-bending indie darling, or maybe a hilarious new series that everyone has been talking about? I've read a stack of them, and I've got some strong opinions. So stick around to the very end to see which comic earned the top spot and why you absolutely need to add it to your collection. Feel free to drop your own picks in the comments below. I'd love to see what you're reading. So, let's get into it. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more comic book reviews every week. Welcome back to the virtual comic shop. We're so glad to have you here. We're going to dive in and talk about the best comics of the week. And wow, this has been a pretty solid week, I have to admit. Surprisingly better than expected. But make sure you stay to the end to see my comic pick of the week. And does it match up with yours? It'll be interesting to see. If it doesn't, hey, that's okay too. The first book I want to talk about is Silverhawks number 9. There is 0 ratings on League of Comics Geeks. This book I don't think sold very well, and it's at its end. Next issue will be its last. So writers Ed Brisson, I think the writing's pretty good on this. George Kambadias is the artist. That's where I think this book has really lacked overall, is in the art. So we have this existential threat into the galaxy. We have the Silverhawks working with somebody, but ends up not going to be working with them. And so a two-way fight's going to end up being a three-way fight with Monstar, Silverhawks, and I think it's Stargazer. Yeah, Stargazer, I think that's the person's name. Anyway, issue 10 is going to be the last issue of this book. It's getting canceled. The art was okay at best. As I said earlier, I think that's where the mistake of this book was. You have characters that are so dynamically cool looking. You needed to have the right artist to do it, and this book didn't get it. So Silverhawks, this one gets in a three-way fight. It's an okay issue, nothing special. If you haven't been reading Silverhawks, don't start because it's at its end. Otherwise, it's a 10-issue set. If you're a big Silverhawks fan, you might want to grab it and check it out. The next book I want to talk about is Green Arrow 29. Has 234 ratings with a 4.4 score on League of Comics Geeks, and I gave it a 7. Here's my notes, rattling them away. The writer is Chris Condon, artist is Alsalvio Pensta Montpellier. The cover is mediocre, nothing to really draw you in. There is an alternate other cover I think is a lot better at capturing somebody's attention. Anyway, Green Arrow discovers the shocking truth of the Crimson Archer's identity in this issue and his plans for Star City, while Arsenal and Cheshire Cat combat his scheme for the streets. Well, here's the thing, it's decent art in this issue, but this villain's lame. They just pulled out some, we altered the past, or going in the past and created characters, as far as I know. Correct me if I'm wrong there. And it's clear this story is wrapping up. We're going to put this one in. I'm pretty sure this one's getting canceled too. Overall, really, this issue was nothing special. I don't see how it got a 4.4 score when I gave it a 7, but I do tend to grade harder. I tend to like the previous type of story arcs we were getting with Green Arrow, more of a family dynamic with him. And it works well with Flash and things, and I think it works well with him too. But it is what it is. What's your thoughts on it? I'd like to know. Next book I want to talk about is The Ultimates, number 17. 887 ratings, 4.5 score, exceptional from League of Comics Geeks. And I gave the book a 7.3. Didn't think it was as high as they did. Writer's Dead's Camp, artist is Phil Noto. The Ultimate Fantastic Four, they're talking about in this issue, and that's really what it's about. We're exploring this new Doom, which is Reed, and his past, and how he wants to get, he feels like he failed them. And he's doing what he's got to do. You can see why he's going through this, messing with time. He's trying to fix his past. The issue is a bit of a slow burn, but it's an interesting read as Reed continues to focus on, hey, get that interesting read, as he keeps focusing on getting his revenge here. It's decent art. Skip this book, though, if you're not already reading the Ultimate series. This isn't a starting point, but if you've been, it's probably a good one to read. I was looking at the reviews here. Most of them are pretty similar. I didn't find anything really. I think I had one of the hardest views here, with the exception of maybe this one that gave it 2.5 stars. 0 resolutions to previous arcs, and 0 connections to the rest of the line. 7 new characters per issue that'll never show up again. And that's how I sort of felt there. A lot of stuff thrown at us, but nothing really moving the story forward. So that's our different views, I guess, on that one. And are you liking this series? This one tends to be a mixed bag. Sometimes like, okay, that's a good one, and sometimes it's like, oh, what were they thinking with this? It just, wasn't doing it for me. Now, this next book I've been waiting for, I've been looking forward to, and that's The Undead Iron Fist #2. It has 136 ratings with a 3.8 mostly positive score, and I gave the book an 8. But yeah, go figure there. I am a big Iron Fist fan, so bear with me there. The writer is Jason Liu, artist is Fran Gellin, and the cover on this one I think already is pretty cool. There's some variant covers that are okay, but the thought of seeing that Iron Fist might be fighting Daredevil was a pretty cool touch there, right? Anyway, Danny Rand is on a race to the Rand Tower as his life is, and his soul, if you will, is burning away. The more powers he uses, some of these new ones he's gotten, his time's going to run out more quickly because it's burning him out. And I think this is interesting. The cover caught my attention. There's corruption, we find out, in the Iron Fist Order, and Danny is trying to tear it down as his time on Earth and here dwindles because of, well, he's burning himself out. Danny is on a path to take on this evil entity, and Daredevil gets in the way a little bit here to try to stop him. It's decent art in this issue, good action, and I'm enjoying this story. I hope that it doesn't end with them getting rid of Danny Rand. I hope we get to continue to have more Danny Rand. Also, if you're an Orson Randall fan, you get to see him here too. And by that way, that ultimate enemy is Quan Yazoo, I think is how you pronounce it. He's also an Iron Fist, if you will. I'm looking at the reviews here from other people. I'm seeing a lot of good ones, a lot of 4 stars, but I did find one here that gave it a 2.5. Says this was all right, but Danny's basically just running through the city beating up a bunch of regular folk. Okay, they're not regular folk, but okay. I know they aren't regular. Okay, they preface that too. But visually, they look like normal people most of the time. Daredevil's involvement was fine. The little story bits are fine. We'll see where this goes and how it wraps up the next 2 issues. I want it to be an ongoing. I want to see more Danny Rand. But okay, I get it. Here's a 3-star review. I feel like I don't know what the F is going on in this, but the action's cool and Daredevil's cool, so bonus points for that. I'm going to read one that runs counter to that, which is a 5-star review. It's very short. It says, this is getting good. You know what? I like it. I'm enjoying it, but I'm biased. I'm a huge Danny Rand fan. I've got the whole, his whole series and everything. I'm old school like that. Speaking of another good issue, this was another contender for the top position. I thought the Iron Fist one was too, though. And this one is Superman issue 31 with 784 ratings, a 4.1 score on Leo Comics Geeks. And I gave it a very close score with the score of an 8. Writer Joshua Williamson, penciler Eddie Barrows. Good issue, really good issue. This has some really good other covers as well, but I'll be honest with you, the standard cover, I think this does the book justice. It's very well. Superman and his allies have been thrown into a dangerous game. Yeah, so this is mixing in with that whole DCKO tie-in, right? And we get what Superman's doing here to prepare for that. And I think that's really good, because that's what I think where Superman really shines is when you get into his family and things. This book, solid art, good story progression, great characterization. Superman seeks his father's wisdom. But I think that's something we all should do, right? Hopefully the Holy Father. Superman makes his plans and makes calculated moves to keep people safe and ready for an evacuation so he can focus on the tournament. This is a very Superman thing. I really think this matches well. This is a good read for all Superman fans. If you are a Superman fan, I strongly recommend getting it. And I'm looking at the other reviews, and to be honest with you, I don't see much that's Not saying it's really good. I do see one here that gives it a 3-star, but it has spoilers, so I'm going to click on it and see what it says. So this was a good tie-in, gave a little more depth on how the other heroes are helping with the evacuation of Earth. And Lois found out through a secret simulation of her mother, opening a secret simulation of his mother by asking certain questions. What they mean that here is she got through bypassing Superman's dad in the computer system to be talking to his mother. And at the end, we get Superboy Prime again, so that's going to be an interesting thing. And this is where the spoilers come in. Something happens to Lois. I don't want to say what that is because I really want you to read this book. As I said, this book was a really, really close contender for my comic book of the week. Now, the next book I want to talk about is also good. Good week, man. That's Moon Knight, Fist of Khonshu, number 13. With a 201 ratings, 4.0 score, very positive, and I gave the book strong 7.5. Writer Jed McKay, artist Steve Muncio, Carbine, whatever his name is, watching over the Wrecker. After years of super criminal activity, the Wrecker is getting people coming after him that are dead, and it's up to Moon Knight to stop him. Now, this is Legacy issue 253 if you're trying to keep track, because I don't know if you're like me, I'm getting sick and tired of the constant Marvel reboots for sales. And this is doing it. They're not even rebooting it with a different team. They constantly have been rebooting this series just to give it a new number one. I'm sorry, but this makes it hard to follow. If you're a new reader and you go, oh, where do I start Moon Knight? They go, number one. Okay, and which number one now? There's so many different number ones. Maybe they want to stay with sort of the current team. Well, which number one do you start with there? Who knows, right? I just don't get it. Anyway, Moon Knight is seeking magical help in this issue to find out who is sending these dead spirits to attack the Wrecker. It's a decent issue, and it's good art. I have nothing against it. If you're a Moon Knight fan, I say continue to get it, even though it's very frustrating what they're doing with the constant reboots. The next book I want to talk about is Green Lantern number 28. Has 186 ratings, a 3.9 score, and I gave the book 7.8, so I'm saying it's pretty strong there. Writer Jeremy Adams, artist V. Ken Marion. And we have a whole group of characters in this one, a lot of the Green Lanterns. So if you like Hal Jordan, Selak, Jessica Cruz, Kyle Reiner, Guy Gardner, which gets an interesting role in this issue. You also get some interesting supporting staff too in this, like Superboy, which is cool. So Jed Williamson, writer, did a good job. Artist Dan Moore, I think, did a good job in this too with the art. The cover is nothing special. That cover just, I don't know why. It doesn't make me want to read it. There's some other covers too, and none of those are anything that special this week. So anyway, we get a new page that's discovered in the Book of Oa that says only 2 words. Hal Jordan. And upon reading this page, well, the greatest Green Lantern, in my opinion, Hal Jordan, is thrust into a mystery now with who knows what's going on. I never thought I would see someone in a Green Lantern book called Guy Gardner a nerd. Yeah, we got that here. But one thing is, why must all comic book writers have to write our heroes as if they feel like they're inferior to their loved ones? I'm sorry, but Green Lantern Hal Jordan has saved the universe so many times. Now, granted, he has had some issues, so maybe in this case, with this character, it fits. But it seems like in all these hero books, they always look at their wife as, oh, they're so much better than me, when they just get powers or something, or haven't had powers very long, but yet they're better than you. Come on, I find that a little goofy. Good art in this issue. It's a very interesting story. And I'm looking over the reviews. There is some mixed reviews in here. Here's a 2.5. Here I was hoping the next arc is Harold focused. I think he meant Hal focused. And we can get a good arc again, finally. But no, Adams had to only tease us with Harold yet again and back to the mid plot of a new arc. I don't, okay, maybe I don't understand what this Harold thing is, but maybe I'm missing the point. Here's the 3-star. It's crazy how Adams has continued fumbling with this series since the crossover. This issue's a little setup mixed with poor written filler. I don't mind relaxed issues as long as the character writing is good. The new plot is so boring, and a lot of the writing here just comes off as really cringe to me. Maybe they're talking about that thought bubbles and things of Hal and what he was thinking. At least there is good Hal and Carol moment. Yeah, okay. Fair enough. So this book does have some back and forth here. Here's a 4-star. Seeing Marion draw Kyle in his little skater boy clothes truly unlocks something in my brain. Okay, whatever. Give me a 12-issue slice of life mini, please. Okay. Overall, I'm enjoying Green Lantern. I gave it a 7.8. I think it's been strong. This might not have been the best issue, in my opinion, but it was workable. Now, let's talk about the next one. We're getting closer to the best issue, so stick with me here. And this is, next one is Justice League Unlimited number 12 with 720 ratings, 3.9 score, and I gave the book a 7.6. Writers Mark Waid, the douchebag, and artist Dan Mora. Now, the standard cover is nothing spectacular, but there is some other covers that are really cool that spotlight some other characters, so keep that in mind. I think those are some better covers. As the tournament begins, and the transformation of Earth grows more dire, strange signals detected at the heart of darkness, at the core of the planet. A terrific device? Michael Holt must put together an elite Justice League squad of the most powerful time-displaced heroes from We Are Yesterday to unravel the mystery. Yes, that's what I think this book shines, actually, is because he puts together a team from time-displaced heroes. So you get different versions, like a different version of Aquaman with the handgun. We get a different version of Batman Beyond, but not McGinnis. Okay, we get Tim Drake version of that. We get Warrior Guy Gardner. I do tend to like that. So anyway, villains on Earth are getting powered up. Yeah, and all the heavy hitters are pretty much gone on this major event. So this ragtag group of unexpected heroes that are just time displaced are here to save the day. Good art, fun story. I'm in for this one. I'm usually not a big fan of all this time stuff, but so far, this one is not so bad to me. The next one I want to talk about, let me check my notes here. Oh, this is okay, there's only one more issue after this. After this is the best of the bunch. This one, though, is Ultimate Spider-Man issue 22. 1,058 ratings, 4.1 score. People are reading this book. Amazing Spider-Man needs to take notes. The team of Amazing Spider-Man, I should say. Marvel, take notes. For some reason, I think people with a Peter Parker written like this and a Mary Jane written like this is what the people want, right? And anyway, we have the last will and testament of, and then it says it's redacted in the blurb here. I give this book a strong 7.7. Jonathan Hickman's the writer, so you know it's a little bit of a convoluted mess. Artist Marco Cicchetto. There is some open order covers that are nothing spectacular. Nothing definitely ultimate. Standard cover is perfectly fine. Anyway, solid art in this issue, good characterization. I definitely think so, with Pete and MJ especially. You know, soapbox, why can't Marvel team get this? I mean, really, there is some good story progression here, and some new questions open up to keep the reader interested. We have Otto Octavius as Spider-Man in this issue, so yeah, for those fans of that kind of Spider-Man, though he's not the same. We have Mary Jane Watson here. We have May Parker, J. Jonah Jameson. You have Harry Osment. You have the Black Cat, Ben Parker, and of course Peter Parker in this issue. I'm enjoying it. It's not the strongest issue of the series, but here's the thing: a lot of people are pretty mixed on this. I'll read some blurbs of some of them. Here's a 2.5. I continue to be conflicted by this series. And as I said in previous reviews, there's certainly things I quite enjoy about it. However, the problem is I've had with it early on continue to be present, and my frustration with them compounds as time goes by. Speaking of time goes by, that's a key example. As I said before, that I felt many of the things I would have loved to explore. I got clicking about this to read more. Give me just a moment here. Come on, computer. There we go. And wow, they put a lot in hiding there. Speaking of things going by, as I said before, I felt that many things I would have loved to explore in a series get lost in the empty space between time skips of the book. You know, I think that's a good point. That does make it hard to follow in some regard. Here is a little bit of a 4-star. What the F is going on? Seriously, this issue is pretty confusing. I don't really understand why there wasn't an explanation for anything. Well, what happened is there was a time jump from what happened last issue. And I think that is throwing some people off. We're dealing with Osborn dealing with the loss and things there too. So I get that. I think that's causing people to struggle. Here's a 3-star. Oh, so now Hickman knows how to write women and romance. Now, and by the way, that's how it's written here. Hickman has drama brewing. Too little, too late, though. These moments happened like 10 issues ago. Maybe we'd actually have a great story on our hands. Oh, well. So there is quite a mixed view on this, and that's okay. Now, are we ready? We're going to talk about the number one pick for me. Now, my number one pick might not be the same as yours, and that's okay. I would love to hear what your number one pick is, so definitely let me know in the comment section below. Now, I might actually be cheating on this one a little bit too, because I think this book came out on the 15th and I missed it, didn't get it until now. So don't at me too hard. And that's Punisher Red Band number 2. 757 ratings, 4.0 score. And I tell you, I gave this book an 8.2. Oh, wow. Well, first of all, the writer for it is Benjamin Percy, and artist Julius Ohata, which I probably once again butchered. The cover, standard cover, is great with a 1-point perspective of everybody putting their guns on the Punisher. There's also some really good open order covers as well. The Punisher is back and dangerous and as lethal as ever. But who or what has reignited Frank Castle's one-man all-out war on crime? Well, it's the Kingpin, right? The Kingpin is using him to take out his competition. So he's got control of the Punisher. That's pretty cool. Solid art in this issue. We have Micro is back. Oh, wow. I mean, give Frank a hand for a nice shot. If you read this issue, you know what I'm talking about, where he shoots a guy in the hand, just blows his hand to pieces. So pun intended there. There is some good, brutal action in this book. This is a great issue for Punisher fans. But my question is, and I hope they address, is how did we get Frank back? Because if you know how they've terribly written Frank out of the Marvel Universe in a way, they off-world anyway, how do they do it here? Any ideas? Hopefully they get us to it, and if they do, they give it in a good way, or just never tell us at all, because how they got rid of him was stupid in the first place. It was complete crap. But if you are a Punisher fan, don't miss this book. I think I missed it last week, so as I said, I think it came out the 15th, so I might be cheating on this one. I think it was released on the 15th. Correct me if I'm wrong. So this probably shouldn't. So this is my number one book this week. Now, if this, I shouldn't count this one then. My number one probably would be Superman number 31. So there, just in case you're thinking I'm cheating, it's either this or Superman 31. But that's my thoughts, not yours. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. I'd love to hear them. Let's have a little fun in the virtual comic shop. And until next time, everybody, keep it frugal.